Hey everybody, it's Everett with Ohio for Freedom, the program that is focused for the foreseeable future on talking about things in the church that shouldn't be in the church. And this is a blockbuster weekend day. It's just hard to process everything. So on the 31st of October 2025, that was Friday, just a few days ago, we ran the episode Robin Bullock Explains the Mysterious Death of Joe Bellagio. That episode included video segments of victim A, who had requested that their face, their visual image, and their voice be masked, be distorted out of fear of retribution, fear of being persecuted, and quite frankly, some fear of their physical safety. However, after the episode aired on Saturday morning, I had a conversation with victim A, who of their own accord said, you know what, I am not going to cower from these people anymore. So in just a little bit, you are going to hear Allie's story, and it's going to be quite eye-opening, and there will be no distortion of visual image and no distortion of audio. And Allie was in the bowels of Church International. So this is all firsthand stuff that you're going to hear. But I have to comment, we knew that this was coming for a while, wasn't able to say anything about it. But earlier today, Julie Roys dropped the article that you see posted or see on the screen right there. I will be talking about this in the next day or so. I had been given a heads up. Laura Lynn had told me this will be happening, but I want to stay focused on what this program is focused on for tonight. But if I can just say this, what you're seeing is on the screen, you are seeing Jonathan Lamb's sister, Rebecca, and her husband, Jonathan Wise, I believe his first name is Jonathan. And they initially supported Jonathan and Susie. And it seems as though massive amounts of mama pressure from Joni Mama came to bear, and they backed off of that. And there were certain things that were said to the Colleyville police that were later kept in confidence. But here's the thing. The truth will come out. And I don't want to go too far into this, but I do want to give an update because this is just so amazing that the DAYSTAR Mafia big muscle machine had put pressure on the Colleyville Police Department to close the case. That way they could say, case has been closed. And then they could build the narrative that certain individuals have been exonerated, that Jonathan and Susie were not to be believed, that Marcus Rogers was right after all, and all of the rest and all of the rest. The only wrinkle in the narrative fabric is this, at least in Texas, maybe it's everywhere, but when in Texas, at least, when the case is closed, which is what Joni Lamb insisted on. That's what Doug insisted on. You got to close the case. But at least in Texas, maybe everywhere, when the case is closed, it's also subject to FOIA requests. The equivalent thereof might take an attorney. But Julie Roy's organization has been able to get access to the police file, which they would not have been able to do if the case had remained open. So by having the case closed, thank you, Joni. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Arnold Torres and all the rest. Thank you, because what that has done is opened or made those materials available. And by making them available, those materials do not paint liars in a good light. I'm just going to play a tiny bit of video just to let you know that we will be talking about this. But in the meantime, as soon as this program's over, I hope you'll head over to Laura Lynn's program, and she will be on this like I mean, she will be on this story. And so, but I'm going to play just a little bit of this video to show you that it does
where
exist.
I saw him like grab her and her trying to.
Maybe if we do it right. Well, let's try this again now.
You know, kids like you know, and him force a mouth kiss, and then a separate occasion, I was very close. I was like this distance. I was sitting at a fridge with my back, and he was coloring at the table, and he came in and was asking for a kiss, kind of like this, and he grabbed her by the face and did a lip kiss on her there. And that was the one that I was close. You know, when you're like 2 feet away from it, I like wanted to like freak out. It was weird, you know.
It was weird, like a non-blood uncle.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't even have to spend much time on that. He's describing the actions of a grown man. He's describing the actions of a relative and a child. So this isn't going away, and liars don't win, and the truth comes out. We're going to get a couple announcements out of the way, and I want to get into this interview. First of all, I want to read this scripture, Titus 1:10 through 13. This is the Apostle Paul writing. By the way, the Apostle Paul was decidedly Jewish. The Apostle Paul, by the way, supported Israel. The Apostle Paul supported the Jewish people. And the Apostle Paul wrote these words in Titus 1, verses 10 through 13. For many are rebellious and full of empty talk and deception, especially those of the circumcision, who must be silenced. For the sake of dishonorable gain, they undermine entire households and teach things they should not. As one of their own prophets has said, Cretans are always liars, evil beasts, lazy gluttons. This testimony is true. Therefore, rebuke them sternly, so that they will be sound in the faith and will pay no attention to Jewish myths or to the commands of men who have rejected the truth. I'm going to reread verse 14. Pay no attention to Jewish myths or to the commands of men who have rejected the truth. And I'll say again, the Apostle Paul was Jewish. The Apostle Paul was for the Jewish people, was for the nation of Israel. And he said, I'm going to read it again. If I can find it on there, put it on there. Rebuke them sternly. Pay no attention to Jewish myths or to the commands of men. I was shocked as I got into the study and preparing for this expose on Robin Bullock. I had, frankly, no idea the Kabbalah connections that exist with Robin Bullock. And yes, I say that without apology, so please be watching later in the week. The target date is Thursday of this week, but I am going to bring receipts that the foundation of Robin Bullock's propheticness and all of these great pontifications where he's talking all these things that nobody's ever heard before, they come from Jewish mysticism, which Paul did not support. Paul did not support Jewish myths. Paul did not support the Kabbalah. The scripture doesn't support Kabbalah and Jewish myths. So anyway, we're going to be dealing with that. We're going to be dealing with that. So I encourage you to be watching for that. And as always, if you'd like to support Ohio for Freedom, you can go to ohioforfreedom.com and you can support us using anything that's in your wallet. If it's a MasterCard, Visa card, Discover card, American Express, our PayPal link is on there. Our Zelle link is on there. And we are certainly so appreciative of those. I am 9 minutes in. We are going to get into this interview. It was amazing. I talked to Allie in the morning, and just that quick. It was her idea, not mine. She wanted to record this interview, and that is what we did. Hi, Allie. How are you? And thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, where should we begin? Maybe we should begin this way, Allie. Tell us your change of heart. At first, you wanted your voice to be distorted a bit and your face masked, but you've had a change of heart, and maybe we could begin by having you explain that for us.
Well, I was I'm still scared, but after seeing the video, realizing there's a lot more people out there than me. I've spoken to so many victims over the course of years, and you know, and I felt for Miss Cynthia. I really did, and I want her to know you're not alone. You're not alone. You and Joe, you're not alone. And they have came against my husband and I in several ways. They came against me because I worked at the ministry for several years, and it was tough. I was brought into the office several times, and I'm going to apologize. When I did the first video, I didn't want to include anyone's name in there that was with me, or so like my husband, or so I kept saying family or something like that, or a friend, because I want to keep them safe. But you know what? They can't do really much to you. Looking at the letter, after I watched the video last night, I looked at the letter closely and realized, and also I talked to a few lawyers over the course of years and a few police officers, and they looked at the letter and they said, this is a joke. This is a literal joke. If this went to court, a judge would love to see and hear the stories of the victims. This would come out to be a victim story, and it would become a much more huge issue than Robin realizes. I mean, you're going to have a lot of victims come out and speak out and testify their stories. So it won't be just one person. It'll be numerous people besides me. And I felt for Miss Cynthia, and I still feel for you. I'm trying not to cry thinking about it. You and Joe, y'all have some really, really kind hearts. And that should have not happened to y'all. Just like me, that should have not happened. This should not happen to anyone. It's sickening. And Cynthia, I'm here for you. I love you, girl. I love you. You're a sister. Sorry. Gosh, I'm sorry.
No. Well, Allie, you mentioned the letter, and we may be out of order time-wise a little bit, because I want to in a minute go back and just give people a sense of the time of your involvement with Church International and with the Bullocks.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that letter that we showed in the episode. Even in the presenting, or the serving of it, even that was kind of unusual, wasn't it?
Oh, it was very, very unusual. I spoke out. I don't know if you'll show any part of the AL.com article. I spoke about my experiences there and how I was scared. Well, they put in there about any evidence I have to preserve. So what are you going to do, Robin? Are you going to pull the evidence out of my head? Seriously, are you going to pull the evidence out of my head? Is that how you're going to get the evidence? That's my story, Robin. And there's so many victims out there that you have hurt. You have hurt so many people that's sickening. And Dustin Gaines, I'm going to say something. I can't believe this. I cannot believe you gave people letters and all that. Talk about what happened to them. I couldn't represent someone. If I was a lawyer, I couldn't represent someone that had the gall to hurt people like that. I'm sorry. How? But seriously, you can't go into somebody's head. I mean, if you read in there, it says the failure to preserve and retain this information may constitute spoliation of evidence and subject you to legal claims for damages or monetary sanctions. What evidence to preserve except for what's in my head? And also, let me put it like this. Other people I know, I talked to these people. They are the ones that gave where all your land and all that is at. Let me say this. That is public information. Once you buy property, that's public information. I'm shocked that y'all went and purchased that much property. And it's not even being used. Let me put it like that. Majority of it's not even being used. And I know this much. There was a story that a friend of mine, she went on a vacation to Florida, and there was a story about a pastor who got arrested for that type of stuff. You're not supposed to use church finances for that type of stuff if it's not used for church purposes.
You sent us, and we videotaped most of it, but the estimates, Allie, of the most recent, aggregate property search that we can find, I mean, I think it might be as much as like $14 million for the property that's right there in and around Warrior in the outlying area. But a lot of it seemed like it was just sitting there, just like hoard, are they property hoarders? I didn't see any development or any construction crews or anything like that.
So I had a friend send me that so I can send to you. I didn't know if she want her name out there or not, but she wanted that information for you to have. I'll put it like this. My husband and I talked to a family member of Robin and them. Well, before they were family member, they became a family member. How you say it? It's kind of weird how you put it, but I don't want to put the person's name out there. But talked to my husband and I and said that the church was going to be closing down in 2019, that their doors were closing. They didn't have any finances. And it's about like a year or two later, somehow you come up with millions. That's not normal. That's really much not normal. I'm sorry, but that's some of the question. And how you gave those letters, you were talking about how the letters were given. I asked the person who gave me the letter, can you give me your number or anything, or who you are and who you work with? They did not work for the state or anything. I found out later on, this person was most likely a church member who came up to my private property and gave me a letter and served me. They gave someone else a letter, and this person called me and be like, you won't believe how my husband handled it.
Okay, y'all, I got to jump in right here for just a little bit. After the interview, Allie emailed me a couple of things that are kind of important. So she's talking about being served this bully cease and desist letter. And I just wanted to show you that it all stemmed from, this is an article that was published in September of 2023 by AL.com, a very credible news organization there in Alabama. Well, the Bullocks didn't like that. And the article just dealt with the millions of dollars worth of property that had been purchased and just sort of the local story. And so everybody that would have been cited as being spoken to in this article received the bully response letter that Allie received. And I just wanted to show you this. And for all of you Robin Bullock supporters, I realize this is uncomfortable, but this is what he actually said from the platform there at Church International that was quoted in this article. For you will mock them one too many times out of your mouth, and you may not have a mouth to mock with. Do not find yourself on the wrong side of this, Bullock shouted from the stage. Witches, 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 back your, excuse my language, ass up. Witches, your time is almost up. So that's the way, that's the way that he's known. So everybody that had talked to or contributed in that article was sent one of those bully letters from the lawyer firm. But this is also quite telling. Now, what you are seeing here, this is the home right there in Warrior, or just outside of Warrior in the immediate area, of a lady that does not attend church and did not participate in the AL.com article. But what you see is this young gal that doesn't even get out of her 2003 Pontiac Vibe and operates as a server serving this lady who, once again, doesn't have any connection to the church, I don't believe, or at least she wasn't attending at that time, had not spoken to AL.com, but she was part of a Facebook group. So evidently what the Bullocks decided to do was, and see, you're not going to hear about this on Elijah Streams. You're not going to hear about this on his glory. This guy that is now calling us all to this prophetic timeline is the same guy that 2 years ago hired this bully law firm out of Georgia to to have these people served if they were on Facebook with these threatening letters. The lady that's pictured here, her name is April. She wasn't named in anything. It's like the Bullock said, well, we already got this letter printed up. If there's anybody out there we don't like, just drive out there and give them the letter and pretend to be an official server, and it'll scare them, because that is exactly what you're looking at. The young lady in the Pontiac 2003 Pontiac Vibe, it might be a 2001. I don't want to overstate, but she has no official capacity. She's actually, ladies and gentlemen, breaking the law. Allie's looked into this. Her lawyers looked into this. It's you can't go up and impersonate someone who's serving someone in an official capacity. And so we just felt it was important to show you this, that this is what the Bullocks have engaged in, and the way that they've sought to. And can I just say this tastefully? This is a dear, sweet lady. These are just ordinary, plain old, ordinary Warrior, Alabama country folk. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. And they're not used to getting these fake bully cease and desist letters all the time. And so I would say, Robin Bullock, Mrs. Robin Bullock, all of you Bullocks, shame on you. Shame on.
But we found out the person was a church member, who most likely was, that gave us the letter, because they kept trying to throw the letter back at us, and they got scared and left. So yeah, that's illegal, by the way. That's illegal. I found that much out too by a lawyer.
So in the state of Alabama, I don't know if every state's that way, but you're saying that in the state of Alabama, if they were going to serve you with that notice, that they should have had some kind of designation from the court, or something that made it official. Yes. And what they impersonated, they impersonated a server.
It has to come from the court. It has to be someone that works, what I'm understanding, someone from the court or a part of the sheriff's department. No.
Okay.
And got a trespassing order on them too, so they're not allowed back at my house. The police officer who came to my house right after I told him what happened, he was flabbergasted, and he's like, "If they ever come back to your house, let me know." So
gotcha.
That much, yeah.
Well, Allie, let's back up just a little bit. Sure. You were involved with Church International for about how long, and from about when to when?
So I thought it was 5 years I was involved, but apparently it could be just a few more years, around 7. I was involved with, I did camera work there. And in fact, there'll be a picture maybe that'll show up where I was at and located. That camera work where I was located. So many of y'all, right there at the corner, there's me. So right there at the corner, you can see that speaker. And think of how loud their music is and how they have everything blasting. I have ear problems now right after. I have ear problems. In fact, there's a lot of times where my hearing, I'm always getting chronic ear infections. And I'm currently, at this time, mostly deaf in my left ear because of being next to that speaker so long. I was also a musician there. And I got some stories on that one, but yeah, I did a lot there. I traveled with them too, out for music a little bit. Not much, not long, but I did. And I helped with an app development too. App development. So I forgot to mention that.
App as in internet, for
your cell phone.
Okay, for your cell phone. That's pretty advanced. Maybe we can come back to that, but in the episode that we're recording this on the 1st of November, the day after that episode on the 31st ran, obviously. But in that episode, the portion that we used, you talked about some pretty abusive treatment that you encountered behaviors that you had to experience. Can we pick up back on that? You would be called in and be like chastised for what, or can we revisit that issue?
We sure can. We can. If I start crying, I apologize. I do have PTSD from them. It's diagnosed. I go to a therapist now. My therapist, he's so upset and all about how I was abused and all. But going back to that, I'll give you one instance. There are several instances where I was pulled into the office. One of which would be about the hourglass. I don't know if you can show a picture of that, but so it was a Friday night fire. I was filming on the camera, and during that trajectory angle, I was looking at Robin, and I felt, hey, I need to look at the hourglass. I don't know why I had the unction just to look down there. And I looked down at the hourglass. Sand was pouring out from the bottom. And I was talking to another sweet lady who worked at the church with me, or was she working there at the time? Well, she was a member there. Let me put it like that. She was there for a long time. And I felt something is not right about this, Robin. And Robin kept saying, hey, it's going to be about the ending of days, that the ending is coming near to a close and all that. We need to get right with the Lord. I felt there's something more to this. So about a couple nights later, I had a weird dream about Israel being attacked. And I was like, I think this is what this means. And I brought it up to another person and was told, in Israel, breaking a glass is not usually a good thing. So I brought that up to, can't remember her name, but she was head of the prayer team at the time when they had a prayer team. And then she told me, you need to tell Robin and Robin about that. So I did. I went up to girl Robin. I told her about it, and I told boy Robin. And those are the only people I told, besides the other person who told me that's not good, or it may have a multiple meaning. You need to bring it up. So I did. So about a week later, it was a Friday night. My husband was nowhere around. I'm not joking, like most days out of the week, I was traveling there. I never got paid or anything. Don't even care to now, thinking about it. I was supposed to get paid, but don't care. I don't want their money. I got brought into the office by her, and she was fussing at me, saying how it's going to make the ministry look, me talking about that, making them look wrong. And I said, listen, I only told y'all. And she said, well, I don't care who you told. And my mom's just blanking out from there. I'm let one thing go out the other, because she started raising her voice at me like I was a child. And about a few minutes later, boy Robin, after everybody leaves, boy Robin comes in, and it's her and him fussing at me. I'm sitting in the chair, and he's standing up. He's looking and towering down at me, fussing at me. And there's one point where he starts circling around me and fussing at me, circling around, fussing and hashing. And I'm over here. I don't know how it got that far, to be honest. I don't even know why I stayed there. I guess I was scared out of my mind. And I endured the yelling at for, I believe, a couple of hours, what it felt like. I know it was over an hour, probably close to 2. And I was apologizing profusely because I felt I was wrong and all that for even speaking about that. But I told them, like, hey, I didn't tell anyone else. I don't know why you're yelling at me.
Allie, this is really disturbing. And I'm just trying to make sense out of the part of it that maybe can be made sense out of. But
I guess they didn't want to be wrong and all that, and how it would make the ministry look. That's their main thing, is how does this make the ministry look? Oh, you doing this, it'll make the ministry look bad. That's their main thing. They have said that so many times.
But what we're talking about though is this hourglass that we're looking at. this was something that they would have at the services on a regular basis.
Yes, it was. It was before it got broken. Now I believe it's in Boy Robin's office.
Okay, but on a particular occasion, somehow it was broken, as we're seeing here, and you felt an impression, or you just became convinced that that represented something, that some danger to Israel or something. If I have this right, you
Yes,
shared
you had
this
it
with
right.
one. You shared this with one person, just your impressions, like a leader of the prayer team, and that resulted in this probably 2-hour meeting with both of the Robins over
Well, she
that.
told me it's concerning. You need to go tell Robin and Robin. So I went to go tell Robin and Robin about the hourglass. And the next Friday, here I am being brought into the office and fussed at. I mean, my gosh, I live about over an hour away, and it's around Friday nights get off around 12 o'clock, sometimes 1 in the morning. And I'm over here probably around 2 in the office and getting home around 3 to 4. And I would go there almost every day of the week, wasting my gas to work for them and doing special events and all that too. Also, I need to mention this about the hourglass because I'm sitting there thinking about it. So after I left the church and all that, this is way after I left the church, about a year after my husband and I are way, way gone. I decided, hey, you know, I got these pictures. I'm going to send this to a pastor friend of mine in another state. What do you think about this? He sends this to a spiritual friend and all that. And somehow word gets back to Robin and them. I sent that, and I guess somebody was questioning about, I don't know, but I'm being fussed at for that being sent to someone else, and I'm not even going there anymore. So
A picture of an hourglass.
Yeah.
Okay. This thing where girl, you called her girl Robin, is like getting on you, fussing at you is the word you used. Was this the only time that ever happened?
No, there are several occasions and stuff I didn't even do. Someone else does it. In fact, there's so many instances. I would be brought in the office for a visitor. There's one time a visitor came and somehow I got in trouble for you were supposed to greet people, you know, be friendly. I thought that's what you're supposed to do is welcome people out of church. Yeah, that's kind of wacky. Be honest, it's really wacky. That's not normal. I'm gonna be honest. Just get my mindset and all that to where it should be. Having to go to 2 therapists and get my mindset to where it should be. I mean, I'll put it like this. That's not normal behavior to get on to a member, or in fact, now I'm thinking about it. When I got onto about greeting somebody and saying, hey, how are you doing? My name's Allie. I don't even remember who this person was, but you know, I was not even working there at the time. I was just a member.
Allie,
oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing.
Well, don't be embarrassed. I mean, it's part of your story. That last night I played a clip where you talked about sort of like the teaming up thing or the cascading on. Mrs. Bullock, girl Robin, would begin the interrogation or the whatever you would call it, but then Mr. Robin would kind of tag team or just up the ante. Did you experience that, like sort of the tag team thing, more than once?
Numerous times. There was around 4 times I can remember. There could be possibly more than that. My mind, apparently what my therapist said was my mind could not process everything. That there's a lot of memories I don't remember. In fact, there's some memories that an event will trigger it now, and I will go back and have that flashback of it, including when I'm at work. I had a flashback not that long ago. Thought, hey, I'm healed of this now. No, I wasn't. I had an event happen at my workplace, And I didn't get in trouble or anything, but I don't know why this happened. Yeah, great time while I'm doing some camera production work and all that for a event I was hired for. Yeah, great timing for the process, something like that. But my mind had a process for it, and I was over here trying to, what we call in therapy, ground myself. I was trying to ground myself to, okay, let's go over this. Why is this happening? And I had to find a healthy way to ground myself during those times and to process that memory. There's a lot of memories that I haven't even processed yet. And there's a lot of times I was brought into the office and my mind just, I couldn't even cope with it. Just put in the back in the memory bank is what my therapist called it, put in the memory bank, and finding perfect times to process the memory. It's kind of wacky. The mind's weird. I'm not joking. The mind is such a weird thing when it comes to processing. So, especially for a survivor coming out there, if you're having night terrors or anything like that, don't be ashamed to go get a therapist. Do not be ashamed. I got 2 therapists, and they are the most coolest people ever in the world. Don't be ashamed.
I've got at least 2 questions along this line.
Sure.
Have you spoken to anyone else that has had similar experiences as you have?
I have, actually, and I spoke to people who were at the church building way before I was, and they told me about their experiences. Robin, I didn't know he had such a bad attitude, apparently. I had a friend who witnessed Robin throw a chair at when they were at the bookstore, or how you say, when their ministry was at the bookstore. He threw a chair and all that before. So I was kind of a little shocked hearing how his, how you say it, it's not, I'm sorry, but if you can't control yourself and all that, you may not need to be in that position where you're at. It's not healthy. It's special to do it in front of congregational members. But that's what the person told me, and I was shocked, but yet again, I'm not shocked too at the same time, especially being yelled at the way I was.
I talked to one former member. You know them, but they called their experience where they were in a chair, they were seated. Robin is standing up and basically circling them, raising his voice, I'll say hollering, yelling, whatever. But they use the term tribunaled. Does that feel like an accurate term to describe what you saw firsthand, tribunaled?
If there was a more powerful word to tribunal, tribunal probably most fits it perfectly well, be honest. In yelling, yelling is if there was a stronger word than yelling, I would put it towards that too. You're being belittled and talked down to be honest.
What kind of physiological, I think that's the right word, effect would that have? Like how would that affect your breathing rate, your heart rate? You probably don't walk around with a blood pressure monitor, but those kind of things, how would it affect you in that regard? Or did it?
So, it's funny you're speaking about that. It'll give you health problems for sure. My blood pressure was always sky. I never had high blood pressure until them. My blood pressure was really, really good. I mean, top of game. In fact, I had no health problems until after them and during the time of being in church there. My blood pressure was so high. There was one time where I thought I was not going to get out of the hospital, and there's a few times where hooked up the heart monitors, EKGs, and checking my heart rate, make sure I was not having a heart attack at the early age of 20 something. But yeah, it'll make your blood pressure high. Cortisol levels, I need to put that in there. Your cortisol levels, if you're under so much stress, you're going to have high cortisol levels to where I have weight problems because of it now. I used to be very, very skinny, and had a healthy weight. I have a hard time losing weight now, and I'm having to be on a certain diet, eating a certain way now. And I can, like everyone else can eat like the normal stuff. I'm having to eat a different way to survive, basically keep my blood pressure down in order to survive and not have any pains in my body, basically. because you have high cortisol levels. It puts pain in your body too. Pain's on your joints, everything, pressure and all. I mean, you won't believe what stress can do to you until you're there. I mean, migraines galore, night terrors every night. I had night terrors every night. Even being at the church, I had night terrors, and I was ashamed to go to a therapist. Once I went to a therapist, got the help I needed. The night terrors, after about a couple of years, maybe around 3 to 4 years, start to go away. But I still have them every now and then, but not as much as I used to.
If you knew somebody was maybe a little older and maybe had a heart condition, if you had the chance, would you caution them, don't get into one of these meetings with the Robins?
Yeah, I would. I really would, because a lot of people that go there, they want to be used, and they want to not use in the. Let me put it like this: they want to be not used for
They want to
have
serve
their name out there. They want to serve. They want to be a part of something, and they want to be part of God's movement. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's a beautiful gift. And that's what a lot of people, when they go there, a lot of older people especially, that's what they want. But if you have heart conditions, or if you, and I'll put it like this, even me being healthy as I was, I caution anyone or everyone not to go there, because you don't want health risk. I mean, my health, I'm sort of looking at the paperwork next to me. There's a lot of health stuff I didn't even send you that I'm just flabbergasted looking at it. You don't want those health risks. You don't want night terrors. You don't want any of that. It's not healthy. And the teachings are not sound. They're not sound at all. In fact, I was talking to my husband last night. I was watching some of the stuff that was being preached and all that recently. I was like, man, me doing the camera work, I couldn't even listen to everything that was being preached, and it was going one ear and out the other. But it's not healthy, even to be in that environment.
Yeah. Allie, you helped work production, so that would mean like camera stuff and stuff like that, which means that people would be expecting you at a certain time. Did you ever have any issues where, and you're volunteering, where like life gets in the way, and maybe there's a storm, maybe there's a family situation that would have affected your ability to freely volunteer? Do you have any instances along that line that might be interesting?
Oh, I have numerous ones. In fact, I'll give you this one. I cannot remember the hurricane that was coming for our area. Cannot remember the name, and I cannot remember the year, because I try to blur a lot of things out of my mind. But I was supposed to be there at a certain time, and we were traveling the interstate, and we had a couple of pine trees. One in particular fell first, and then a couple more fell after, and they fell right in front of us in the interstate. And we didn't want to go. Going there, we wanted to make sure we were on time, because there's times I'll include that in a minute. That's part of it, but there'd be times where we couldn't come in before because my husband's work schedule and all that. And we were not even working there at the time, or I wasn't worked there. He never worked there, but I was not even working at the ministry or volunteering at the ministry at the time. But the trees fell in front of the road, and I looked at my husband and said, we need to go. Don't need to get you in trouble. I said to him, No, we're going to turn around. We're not going to be playing this game. We're going to turn around, and because it could be worse up on the hillside. Put it like this: I study meteorology now, and had meteorology experience back then as well. Want to be a meteorologist for broadcasting, but no, not anymore. I'm now doing more of the side of research. So knowing that type of thing, knowing up on hill, it could be more dangerous as we go, because there is some slopes and all that where there's a lot of trees, and we could have potential of trees falling. That was my fear of our car being crushed. I mean, we had a Spark. If you ever look up a Spark, like a Chevrolet Spark, how small they are, yeah, the car would be crushed. We would have been gone. And that's, we're not going to be putting ourselves in that type of danger. Turned around, and next time I saw Robin and my husband, he was working. I got fussed at for not being there that day. I gave them a message or so and tried calling them and let them know not coming. The storms are too bad. Yeah, I got fussed at for not being there because I wanted to keep my life and my husband's life in safety. Safety's first. I'll give you this. Before we were even, this is embarrassing as I'll get out. Before we were just members. I was a member, not even volunteering, not even doing camera work, not even doing anything, just a member. My husband worked third shift and would get off really, really late. We lived over an hour and a half away to get to Warrior. We just were glad to be there. Well, we came in the back and was sitting our stuff down, praising and worshiping, and we were just during worship and praise. Did not miss anything. And somehow Robin had someone that I think it was Robbie. Now remember correctly, Robbie, Amber's husband, come up and bring my husband out to the front. Said Robin wants him and I to sit there for now on. That's where we need to sit for now on because we are always late. That's embarrassing.
Assigned seating because you got there a little late because you were coming from your husband's work.
Yeah.
And then Robin has you assigned to sit here from now on.
Yeah.
That's kind of controlling, isn't it?
Oh, there's a lot more controlling stuff than just that. A lot more. It's not normal. It's not normal. And I'm telling you, if someone tells you to not be speaking to, in fact, that's something else I got fussed at too, was speaking to outsiders who left the church. You speak to an outsider. Huh?
Talk to us about that. Speaking to somebody who left the church, what was that like?
So we had a really dear friend of ours leave the church. Did not know why he left. He was really reserved back. Did not want to say anything. So I got pulled into the office and I was told by girl Robin, hey, you need to delete so-and-so off your Facebook and you need to block them on your cell phone and your husband too. We were not, I was not even working at the church. I was just a member there once again. So I did as that because I was scared of them. And also at the same time, they put that the person was trying to cause the church problems, was trying to put the church in the bad light. Once you leave the church, you're a bad person. Especially if you left on bad terms or left because of your rights. You're a bad person. But you're not a bad person. You're not a bad person at all. It's a way of controlling manipulation. It's not right.
Was this a one-time thing, or did you see this like ever so often, or is that just kind of the way it was when it happened? That's the way it was.
So for me, it happened twice, and I know other people it's happened to as well. Other people. And yeah.
Well, I was going to say, financially, how did what was your experience there? Did you ever did you guys give a lot? Were you ever in need, and were you ever helped by the church, or just curious?
So I'll put it like this. We would give, and we would give more than we should. I'm going to put it like that because we felt that if you give is to protect you and all that, and it will help and all that, because they would give, I'll give you an example. There was one time Krista, I think she was going out on airplane or she was traveling. It was some sort of travel. And Robin gave a story about, because we gave and all that, she was protected and all that from getting her life and killed her. So, and we thought, hey, this is our protection. So we would give and all that, and we give for stuff like that. We also felt if you have more, you need to give to all that because you were guilted into that. I'll put it like this. You have other people as well whose parents passed away, and they found out about that, and they were told that hey, this is extra money you should give out. It's not right. You shouldn't do that. And they would even say, if you have extra, this is how, if you have extra, you should also give out that too, because it's right. And the Lord sees that. The Lord sees how much you have. You should give out that too. They even brought wheelbarrows in, and this is several times, and fill as much as you can, because as much as you give, you're going to get the double or so back, return back to you as much as you give. Wheelbarrows, I'm telling you. I'm not joking. You can't go back and find those videos because they cleaned them off online.
Allie,
from 2019 down, they cleaned them.
Are you saying that at the Bullocks, if someone came into a windfall like an inheritance, it's not like it would be up to that individual to pray about it and see what they felt like they wanted to do with any windfall or not? But they would, like, to the best of your knowledge, people were like contacted and said, hey, this is what you need to do? Or I don't want to overstretch there, but that's what it kind of sounded like.
There's a few people like that I heard stories of way after I left, but I knew from other people, such as a husband. His mom died and all that, and he didn't tell Robin and them and all that. He got that from his parents' death and all that. And they will always say, they didn't know that they passed away and all that, but he will always say, if you have extra and all that, to give out that, because it's just right. But it's, God, that's creepy even thinking about. I'll need to give you this too. I need to give you this because there was a point in time where I was working at I was working at a college, and I lost my job due to an F3 tornado. So I stopped giving and all that, and I got asked, hey, why are y'all not giving as much as you used to? I got asked that, and I was like, you're paying attention to that? And I had to explain, hey, I lost my job.
So wait. Let's you worked somewhere, and you almost have a lot of hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff in Alabama, okay? But sorry to make.
No, I'm a studying meteorology. Welcome to my world.
Well, no, I get it, but literally, like, weather took away a job that you had. Like you're after a storm, and maybe it wiped something out or something like that. But anyway, you lost a job.
It took my whole workplace away. Yeah.
And so when you didn't have a job, that affected how much you gave to the church.
It did. Didn't have as much. I mean, I wasn't giving as much. I didn't make much on the job. I mean, it was just a little bit survive, getting food and all that stuff. But we had to get help and all that too from outsiders and all that of where I worked and all that. I worked at a college, had people giving to workers or students and all that. Well, I was both. I was at the time going for, I think I was entering into my No, I was still my bachelor's. And had people giving into our lives and all that way for food and supplies like that. And had people give me money and all that to help me survive just for the meantime. I mean, it came to the fault of his and my mind and all that. Hey, should we give out that money and all that to get more return? I said to them, no. Let's just not chance that. Let's keep that for ourselves in case we need it for power and all that, because there was a few times where the church, it really hurt us how much we gave to the church to where we had to go to food banks. Oh, I'm ashamed of saying that. I really, really am. We had to go to a food banks twice in our life. Not going to say the ministry's names that help us, but thank you for doing that. Really, thank you.
Okay. I'm going to ask just a couple of series of questions. Short answers, please. You know a little bit about media, so we can work together. I'm just trying to piece this together. Sure. You guys were regular givers. If a windfall came in, like an inheritance or something like that, your husband, like, he was a giver. Y'all were givers. Y'all were contributors. You lose your job due to natural circumstances, actually horrific weather conditions. So you lose your job. Correct?
Correctamundo.
It affects your giving, and the church notices it and says something about it. Correct?
Correct. It took about a month for them to come up and say something. It took about a month, but still, I mean, I thought I was the only one they noticed that with. There's other people where circumstances happen and all that, and you hear later on after you leave the church of other situations where they ask, "Why are you not giving us much?" It's
Okay,
really crazy.
Okay, back to the short answer exchange then. And so you would explain what happened, but like along this time, you actually needed help. You said like you had to a couple of times go to the food bank and accept some other help from other Christians or other Christian organizations.
Yes. Yes.
So you literally had to get help from other Christians to be able to attend Church International. I mean, is that overstating it, or is it?
It's close. I mean, to get so we can have gas money going back and forth. Yes. To have we had to have money to get because I wasn't working to keep the power on and have food on the table. Yes.
And
we were hurt.
Did you ever ask the church for any help or assistance, or would you have been too afraid to, or would just not have thought of that? Or
they would have helped. I don't believe they would have helped at all. In fact, I'll put it like this. Usually it's not them that would help. It would be the congregation. It'll be members of the church that would help. And I don't want people knowing I'm hurting like that. It's really, you feel like you're being shamed for even asking something like that.
Yeah, I understand. I
feel embarrassed.
Let me ask one last question, and we're about up on our time. But you know, the Bullocks make a big deal out of money. I mean, Krista takes about 30 minutes every service that I can catch. So they're not bashful about talking about and asking for money. We videotaped millions of dollars worth of property, so we know that's happened. So money is certainly part of the topic of conversation. And this is one of my famous long questions. So I'm asking a long question. I've been to a lot of churches where like you'll walk in and you'll see like all these flags, for example, of different missionaries that are supported in other countries, or mission organizations that maybe are like food banks in the inner city, or just different kinds of ministries that are outside of the four walls of the church, you know, that you're walking into. To your knowledge, does Church International, do the Bullocks regularly contribute to any other missionary, evangelistic, other ministries that they don't directly control?
I'll put it like this. When I was going there, no. None. Not whatsoever. They didn't mention anything. Not at all.
Okay.
And as I went to a few other churches after leaving there, other churches would tell about all the awesome things they were doing. So absolutely no. And I need to explain this too. It should be more than just the family looking at the finances. In other churches, they have a family member and maybe 3 other people and all that with eyes on the finances and to sign off on things. I think that's very healthy. Just saying.
And that's not the way it works at Church International, is it?
It's just the family. Just the family. I don't think that's very healthy. I got questions. I got so many questions.
Yeah.
Especially about where did all of our money really go? Especially, how were you able to afford such nice clothing, lavish vacations, and all that? I'm just wondering. I mean, did somebody give you money and all that for that, or did you use church funds? Just wondering. I mean, not blaming you for anything, but we would like to know the receipts.
Yeah. Yep. Allie, we've all got commitments. We're right up against the hour here. Is there anything else that you feel like we need to cover or that you wanted to say?
Yeah. If you're a victim, don't be afraid to speak up. I'm still a little nervous about speaking up. I really am. But it needs to be out there. It really does. You don't need to be afraid about, I mean, these are lawyers. These are not judges. In fact, what a few lawyers told me, a judge will love to hear the victim stories because that's not cool. Cynthia, I want to say this to you too. I love you, girl. I really do. You're in our thoughts, our prayers, and everything. We are praying for you. You're awesome. And any other victims, I'm praying for you too. Seriously. It's so hard to come out there and speak. It really, really is. But don't be afraid to come out and speak. The more of us there is, the better. Really, the more, the better, because our stories line up and show the truth of what really happened to us, really. And if you have night terrors, PTSD, or anything like I did, don't be afraid to go to a therapist, because it was brought up many times, almost in the way that going to a doctor is weak. It's not weak. It's strength.
Amen. Allie, thank you very much. You're going to inspire a lot of people, and we really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon. This young lady is very bright, very articulate, and very, very gutsy and very, very brave. And it hasn't necessarily been easy, but she and her husband have championed through their experiences, and she is speaking up for the benefit of those that are trapped in a similar situation. And I just got to say, if you are part, I am going to say cult, if you are trapped in this cult or very cult-ish, cult-like environment at Church International, get out. Get out now. Get out for your benefit. And if you are in a situation similar anywhere else in the country or anywhere else in the world, get out. Come out from among them. It will be okay. The Lord will be there on the other side. And yes, if you'd like to support the program, please go to ohioforfreedom.com. We certainly appreciate it. And be watching for,